of Priests for Life, also co-founder of the Silent and More Awareness Campaign, and of course, Executive Director of End Abortion US. And of course, joined as always by my co-host, Frank Pavone, our pro-life leader. Welcome.
Good to be with you again, Janet.
Well, and we've just come from a pretty thrilling event today.
Well, we were with the best governor in the USA,
That's
in the
right.
freest state of America, and he signed 3 bills into law. The theme of the gathering was law and order.
And this is a state of law and order,
Yes.
thanks to Governor DeSantis. I mean,
That's right.
And one of the things they were talking about is how many people are flocking to Florida from states where everything's going wild and crazy. But what Governor DeSantis is doing, first of all, acknowledging our law enforcement officers and giving extra even bonuses for people, law enforcement people coming from other states. They want to quit like working in, there was a gentleman there from New York, Virginia, like these, blue states that are going, as you would say, the governor would say, woke, and defunding the police and not protecting law and order and letting, like catch and release with the criminals. The laws the governor put into place today respect our officers, give bonuses for them to be here and come and work, and then also to keep the criminals in jail until their court dates, unless they can post a sufficient amount of bail money. In some states, it's catch, release, no bail needed, nothing. And very often, like they were saying today at the press conference, the same criminal will get back, and before they even spend a day in court, they've already committed a few more crimes, So isn't it wonderful to see our governor just like embracing protection? And then what about the protection for children? That was the other law, to really harsh now things to happen to these child predators. It was, to me, it was a joy to see that Florida is protecting its citizens. That, like he said, you can go to bed at night and be peaceful. These people can leave for work and maybe leave their wife home with the children and not have to worry about her safety. And so I think I'm just thrilled to see the governor again. And do you notice how clearly he speaks with not a note in front of him?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, like he knew everyone's name, he knew everybody, he had in his mind exactly all the points he was going to make, and there's no notes, no teleprompter. I can name a few politicians can't even read from the teleprompter properly, but it was a pleasure to have the governor just so strong and able and just so, caring. I would say you could just feel how he really cares about all of us Floridians.
Well, when you saw the energy of the people who were there,
Right.
It brings us back to the very purpose of government. When you look biblically at why God established government, and you see St. Paul, for example, telling Timothy, pray for all those in authority, he says why? He says so that we can live our lives in peace and good order.
Right.
It's the very purpose of government, preserve order and protect life.
Right.
We always talk about life as the fundamental right undergirding all the rest. And what we saw today, and we're going to have some special guests to unpack it for us a little bit more, was precisely a focus on what the fundamental purpose of government really is.
That's right. And of course, one of the bills dealt with the fentanyl crisis here, and it was hitting hard these dealers who are responsible for the deaths of so many young people. And of course, it was very moving to see that those parents who had lost their son to fentanyl. Of course, we have personal experience too. One of our wonderful pro-life leaders lost 2 of her sons on the same day. They were both found dead from fentanyl. And so we know the effect of it. It's a crime against all our young people, and they're even trying to get the children involved by masking it with colors and making it look like all these other candies. And so now this other fentanyl law that the governor signed will really put these fentanyl dealers in jail for life. And that's what we really need, because they're committing murder all over this country. But in Florida, beware, because we've got a wonderful governor, and was just so pleased today and honored. He came right here 5 minutes from our office, and it was wonderful to be there and see this in person. Well, we're going to take just a real brief break, and we're going to be back with our special guest, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, friends, we're very happy today to be joined by the chair of the Orange County Republican Party here in Florida, Erin Huntley. Erin, welcome to Priests for Life.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to our program. So we had a great morning today, and the three bills that the governor signed, as we'd already discussed with Janet, really go to the heart and core of the purpose of government: the protection of life, the protection of law and order. Review for us again what these bills did.
Right, so we are a pro-family state here in Florida, so it's very exciting to have law and order where we respect our law enforcement officers. The first bill that the governor discussed was the one that puts harsh penalties on those who are dealing fentanyl in our communities. We've had a lot of issues with drugs that are laced with different things in fentanyl, and we've had a lot of deaths that were specifically here in Orange County as well. We've had a lot of problems, so we're really excited to see that our legislature was putting this at the forefront so we can make sure that we have harsh penalties for those who are dealing these drugs. So that is very important to us, and we were excited that was signed and was a priority for the governor this session.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was the one to have bail reform. In many blue states, bail reform would mean removing bail, where if someone was arrested, they are booked and then they sign a piece of paper and then they walk out. Bail reform, Florida style, is we make sure that people who are arrested and charged with a crime do have to make bail so they are retained in jail until the judge deems it appropriate. Mm-hmm. So we're making sure that we keep people locked up. There's a lot of repeat offenders here in Central Florida, so we want to make sure we keep them off the street until they have an opportunity for a fair trial.
Right.
And then the last one was let's think about this. We had fentanyl. And the sex offenders. Yeah. So right now, per the U.S. Supreme Court, we are unable to, as a state, give a capital penalty to someone who rapes a child under the age of 12. This bill is challenging that opinion. So we believe Florida law, and we're part of a federalist country, so we believe here in Florida that we would like the law to be that if you rape a child, your penalty should be a capital punishment, which means you go on death row. And so even though the Supreme Court many years ago didn't approve that, we are hoping for a different result in the Supreme Court. We have a Supreme Court now, thanks to President Trump, that does believe more in life and the protection of children and families.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Well, it was a pleasure to be and an honor to be part of the signing these three new laws, and we look forward to the progress that they will make for the people of Florida. How long have you been in your position there in Orange County?
Well, it's been just about a little over 4 months, so it's relatively new.
Okay, all right.
So I was recently elected in December, but
great.
You know, we have such a great team of activists in Orange County who care about families and freedom.
Yes.
So it's really been great to work alongside all the different groups. We have many different groups that are pro-life groups,
that's right,
conservative groups, freedom fighters, you name it, Moms for Liberty. We have very strong groups in Orange County. So we're excited that the Republican Party can come alongside, because the main goal of the party is to elect Republicans at all levels of government. So we're very focused on the local level in Orange County, and that helps as well on the state and the national level.
I've been to many great events there in Orange County with some of the very people you just referred to, and it's a blessing. It really is. You know, speaking of being a pro-life state and a pro-life party, we also had the great joy just very recently of the heartbeat bill being signed here in Florida. It won't take effect immediately. As we know, there's a trigger mechanism involved. But you were telling me before about some of the reaction we got from the other side. Tell us what happened that day in Tallahassee.
Well, when our legislature went in to vote on the bill, the governor almost immediately signed it in his office that evening.
That evening, right.
And it was very quick, and there's many people that say, oh, it was behind closed doors so no one could see. Well, everyone knew that the elected legislature was going to vote for this bill.
It had been
so it was
in
not
the
a
news.
surprise.
It was not a surprise.
It was not a surprise. The governor had said publicly before that if you give me a 6-week ban, I will sign it.
Right.
So it was not a surprise to anyone. What was a surprise was reaction from the other side being just unruly and unwilling to protest peacefully. We had some problems within the State House, and we also, the next morning, they were outside and throwing things and being quite, everyone has the right to protest, but it's a peaceful protest. So
right.
Unfortunately, sometimes it does get to a point where emotions get hot, and we need to make sure that our governor's protected and the people who worked so hard on passing that law were protected as well.
Exactly. Well, and this is the way the other side behaves when they know that they've run out of arguments. They try to justify abortion. There is no justification. It has no benefit for society. It has no benefit for the mother medically. And when they run out of arguments, they just behave like spoiled children, who for decades have been given this so-called right to abortion on a silver platter. But as the U.S. Supreme Court recently clarified, that was a myth. There is no constitutional right to abortion. So we're proud in Florida to be a pro-life state, to be working with people like you and with the Republican Party to continue to advance the protection of life at every stage.
Well, we're very excited about that. And, exactly what happened in the Supreme Court, it's sent this right back to the states so every state could decide. So the state of Florida elected a supermajority of Republicans to make that decision. And we're very proud of that and thankful that they were brave enough to enact it this session.
Well, Erin Huntley, we're very grateful for your work there in Orange County.
Thank
we'll
you.
Look forward to working together with you as the months go on.
Thank you so much.
Blessings
Appreciate
to
it.
you. And we'll be back with our other special guest in just a moment.
Hello, this is Dr. Teresa Burke, the founder of Rachel's Vineyard. One of the many ways to healing after an abortion is a Rachel's Vineyard retreat. This retreat program is increasingly used throughout the world, and it's become a ministry of Priests for Life. The weekend experience is rooted in Scripture and the sacraments, and various biblical events are relived by the participants who, for example, are approached by the priest and ask the same thing that Jesus asked the blind man before healing him. What do you want me to do for you? Participants are able to share their pain in an atmosphere of support and confidentiality, and to understand how their abortion has affected various aspects of life, and to learn from the stories of others, and to confess their sins, and to have a memorial service for their child. For more information, visit rachelsvineyard.org.
Well, friends, now we're joined by Debbie Galvin, and she is state committee woman for the Florida Republican Party for Orange County. Debbie, we have been in communication for a long time, and it's great to welcome you to our headquarters.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
We shared this event this morning that we've been talking about with the governor, and but I want to step back a little bit with you and just talk about Florida for a moment. The whole country, of course, all of us who are pro-life and stand with the values and priorities of the Republican Party have been rejoicing. Seeing the victories in this last midterm election. How did Florida gain so much victory, become so red with this election? I mean, you were right in the midst of it.
I think we are seeing a movement back towards our traditional values. I think that a lot of people have gotten to the point where they're tired of being silent and are ready to stand up for their values, and it certainly is showing in elections. We've flipped a lot of seats from blue to red. We still have some more seats to flip, and hopefully in 24 that will happen across the state of Florida as well as throughout the nation. I think people have finally gotten to where they've had enough, and those that would be typically more silent and reluctant to speak out are now, empowered with that feeling of wanting to stand up for what's right.
A lot of people are moving into Florida. I think it was said this morning, was it 300,000 people a year are coming here? Are you finding that as they're coming here, they're bringing their values with, they're not bringing the leftist values into Florida so much as they're bringing their traditional values here because they don't see them respected in the state they're coming from. Is that right?
Absolutely, exactly. And in the beginning, of course, we were concerned about how that would go, what would happen. But that is what we're finding is the traditional Christian conservatives that are living in these other states that are struggling in their state with those values being upheld are moving from those states and moving to Florida and voting Republican.
You know, there was a time in the past when and I think many other leaders would say to folks in these deep blue states, well, you know, stay and fight and try to make a change and whatnot. But now I think for the very safety of these people and their families, for the sake of the education that their children are going to get, for the sake of even getting a fair trial, you know, if they have to end up in court for some reason, the advice I'm giving more, and I know a lot of other commentators are too, is that if you're in a deep blue state, get out of there.
Yeah.
Get out for the sake of your family, for the sake of your life in
Absolutely.
some cases, because these places are out of control.
They are.
You know, on the matter that we deal with here of abortion, and you and I have been together on many occasions and talked about the issue many times. We're winning on this issue. And yet we see some people in Republican ranks, some, now I don't think most, getting afraid of this issue. And some advisors and some of the politicians saying, oh, well, you know, I don't know if we should deal with that issue so much anymore. What's your advice when people hear this?
Well, I think it's important to stay true to your values. I think it's important to stand up for what we believe in. And as Christians, of course, I mean, it's pretty simple. We have a set of 10 commandments, and there are no amendments to thou shalt not kill. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There's really no room for misinterpreting that rule and that commandment. So I think it's important for politicians to stand up for what they believe in. And I think that the voters will show that, you know, they appreciate that as well.
Yeah, the protection. Of course, you know, we look at what the governor just signed, the heartbeat bill, and you think that by the time the heartbeat is detected, and some people say, oh, 6 weeks, that's too early. But by the time the heartbeat is detected, it's already beat over 1 million times. I mean, we're talking about a baby far more developed than most people even realize. And as this truth comes out more and more, I think we're going to see people say, this is not an extreme position. The extreme position is to allow children to be killed. It's not an extreme position to protect them. So looking into 2024 then, what are the main goals here in Florida, and how can people help the Republican Party of Florida?
Well, you can certainly visit our website. The state party is florida.gop. And get involved in your local county Republican Executive Committee or your county GOP and find out how you can help. There's so many roles. There's a position for everybody. Wherever your talents are, your interests, there's always something for someone. You know, we need as much help as we can get, and we welcome everyone with every different set of skills that they have. And throughout the state, throughout the nation, we need help everywhere.
You're going to continue on the path of victory, right?
Absolutely.
You've met plenty of victories in 22, but you're not resting on any laurels.
No, we
You're
have a
moving
lot
forward.
more wonderful things ahead to accomplish.
That's great. Well, thank God for you, for our legislature here,
Absolutely.
for our governor, and above all, for our great people of Florida that you serve, and Erin serves, and all of your teams with you. We're very grateful for that.
Oh, thank you.
And we look forward to a lot more collaboration.
Absolutely. Me too.
Thanks, friends, for joining us. As usual, we will be in touch with you. Follow us on social media. You'll find me at FR Frank Pavone on all the major platforms, FR Frank Pavone. And spread the word about our programs, and we'll be back with you with more tomorrow.
Hello, this is Father David Begany, one of the many members of Priests for Life. This organization is one of the largest and most visible pro-life ministries in the world. The Priests for Life team relies on your financial support to be able to do its work, produce its programs, and travel the world to advocate for the unborn. May I ask you to support Priests for Life generously? Go today to prolifegift.org and give us as generous a gift as you can. Thank you for your kindness, and be assured of our prayers for you every day.